I don't have to explain what I do or why, okay? These people that I photograph are my friends. When I was 5, I always loved the underdog. I wanted to be a boxer. I wanted that monkey, and I liked the strangest wrestler. I'm fascinated by these people, okay? My father was thick gray hair, pinky ring, cigar hat. It must come from that. And maybe the film noirs I watched as a child that had this stark lighting. So all of this combined goes up to make Bruce Gilden. I grew up in Brooklyn and then we moved to Queens. But I also started to educate myself art-wise when I was 17. I chose to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art and I'd go to look at the Impressionist paintings. So something was driving me, okay? And if I think about my life, I might be the last person somebody might have thought would be some type of artist or artist photographer, because I couldn't even draw a straight line with a ruler. And the reason I took up photography was, well, people say because of Blow Up, the movie by Antonioni, but that's just part of the reason. Because of that movie, photography was trendy. So in other words, it came before my eyes. So I said, hey, why don't I try photography? When I first picked up a camera, I didn't realize that what you saw is what you get. I mean, I was quite ignorant. And when I saw my first image come up in the tray of Fixer, developer, I said, oh, I did that? It was the first time I really had done anything for myself except play sports. And I was impressed, you know, that I was able to do that. It wasn't anything fantastic. It was just, for me, it was special. My first long personal essay was Coney Island. When I started photographing there in 1967, it was crowded, but not as crowded as it was in the 30s or 40s. And also I liked the idea that I could walk around without talking to people and make photographs. I used to wear a long-sleeve jacket and like army boots on the beach, so you could see me coming from 3 miles away. So, and it's quite warm. And I was on my knees taking this picture because I liked her bathing suit, which is like, looks like underwear. It's not really, you know, a typical bathing suit. And I took a few pictures of her, and someone came over and said, what is he taking a picture of? And she went, over there. And I was so lucky because that made the picture, otherwise it would have been terrible. Yeah, I mean, it was wonderful. So the street is a place where I can cool off. I can, you know, think my own thoughts and just walk around the block and not pay attention to anybody and just, I feel at home. Actually, I think I'm attracted to the streets to do photography because as a child I played on the streets, okay? And I guess emotionally also my home wasn't very interesting to me. In other words, I suffered emotionally, which I didn't realize till I got older. And I'm at home in the streets. When you work in the street, you can't think. You have to act and react. But there's been a lot of thought involved from things I've looked at and who I am. Look, when you photograph, you can only be who you are. I can't be someone else and someone else can't be me. Well, to me, look, my father was a tough guy, gangster. And if I have something to say to you, I'm going to say it, all right? I'm very blunt. I don't want to be someone who hides his camera. You have to be sneaky to get what you want, okay? So I do it in a more confrontational way. But I think these people that, you know, they keep their camera under their coat, and they, oh, okay, good, or they stand across the street and they take a picture. For me, I would get mad if someone did that to me. Oh, you lose something? I'm in your face. Sometimes I'm so close that people think I'm photographing someone behind them because they don't realize it's them. In a typical photograph that people do documentary style, I call it like a stage set photograph. In other words, you're looking at the subject, okay? In my pictures, the viewer is involved in the picture because I'm so close. And I think that's a different way of looking at things. I should say one thing. This is one of my favorite pictures. I find that I call it fake mustache, because I think if you go to the guy's face, it may not even be real. It looks like nothing's real in this picture. He's got a wig, it looks like. He's got sunglasses, a fake mustache. I mean, I don't know who he's hiding from, but he didn't escape me. 1992, it says. I think in that day I only took about 8 pictures. And I saw this lady, blind lady, come out of the store with this guy. And he was helping her because she's blind, obviously. And I call it the Giant, even though all my pictures are untitled. But I make up little stories, so that's called the Giant.
What must have been the most difficult confrontation you...
See, this is the kind of question I really don't want to answer, but wait. No. Let's start. Let me answer what you're asking me, okay? Right. Because, first of all, it's not how close you are, it's how you are, okay? That's number one. For me, I can turn your argument around on the other side. If someone came in my face and took a picture, I'm cool with that, okay? But if you take a picture like from 100 feet away with a telephoto lens, that I don't like. I don't like sneaks, okay? I don't like it in life. I don't like it in photography. So there are some people once in a while they get mad, but I've seen them get mad at people who are 30 feet away and don't use flash. It's how you carry yourself. If you're comfortable and you have a good bedside manner and you know how to deal with people, it's okay. For example, when I was with Sergei, there was someone who found Sergei, and he found some other people because I told him I wanted to do, you know, tough guys. So he said, I got one for you I think you really like, and it was Sergei. But the thing was that he would just hang around and do nothing. So we meet him he lives 70 kilometers from Yekaterinburg, and we meet him out at his, on the road or at his place, I don't remember. And we go to the club. What a club. Nobody in there. It was Sergei and his friends that he brought. I said, this can't go on. You know, we have to do something. So what we wound up doing was that he organized his picnic.
На море по колено, следуя южной традиции. Пьяный рамс, друг другу бьем лица. Потом на танцы, там крутят R&B. Малышки вертят попами, и мы вот они, фейс-контроль. Это что значит? Мы сильно пьяные, чи наш прикид не катит. Слышь, накачанный, не городи хуйню. Это ж мой район, я тут только живу. Я, ну-ка навались, братва. Эй, бык, прибери рога.
The tattoo of the cat on his foot is a symbol for native prison dweller. But it also means be quiet as a cat so the cops don't hear you. Sergei, who's also known as the wild boar, he doesn't have to hit you twice, once is enough. And he says when he fights, the elephants puke. I see him getting mad at Vasily. And he pulled him out of the car with one hand, okay, and he threw him about 30 feet.
Ну давай.
Водки найду.
Пойду, водки найду. Пойду, водки найду. Пойду, водки найду.
2 hours after, very drunk, he says you have to leave. You know, he doesn't want any more pictures because God knows what he can do.
I also believe all the people I photograph are beautiful. They're beautiful to me. Not everybody has the same sense of beauty. I don't like the average-looking person. I wouldn't be attracted to that. I've always felt I was on the margins. So why should it be any different in my work? For me, the margins are all where it happens. It's where the interesting things are. It's the middle I don't like. I don't like people that are in the middle in their life either. You know, it's not interesting for me. Japan. I spent like 4 trips, a little over a year there. Now this is my wife's favorite picture. I like it. It's a transvestite in Shinjuku, and that was just a candid shot. She was stopping for the light in the daytime. Go ahead. I love her lipstick. This is an area I like in Tokyo where some of the other pictures were taken and others will be. Asakusa. That's where you asked me about the Yakuza. That's a heavily laden, old-fashioned district with low-level Yakuza. That's Yakuza, okay? Go ahead. This is Bozozoko, which is in between Yakuza and God knows what. Those are the bicycle gangs. And I had an assignment to do that. And I was concerned because all these are 16, 17-year-old kids, and I thought they wouldn't be very formed. But to my surprise, they were very well formed. This is the, well, he's a pretty boy, but they have more pretty boys. This is the alcoholic, tough guy. I mean, they're formed at 17. It's amazing. I mean, you can see what their life is going to play out. So I went over their head. I told the guy I was going to go over his head to photo, and I said, that's the end. You know, they'll never let me photograph him again. Go ahead. That's the Yakuza from Ginza. That I can tell you for a fact, because I became friendly with them. They work together. They work in the Ginza area, which is a rich area. And the first time this is the second time I saw him. He's like about 5'6", tall, not tall, and 5'6" wide. Ex-boxer, martial arts expert. But I get along with these guys. We speak the same language. I'm comfortable. Okay, if I'm not comfortable, I don't do anything. He looks like he was from the 50s. What's the 50s? It's my childhood. We all want to go back to our childhood, all right? You know, black and white is the abstraction, okay? I see in the abstraction. I don't see in colors. For example, when sometimes I walk in the street with a color photographer in New York, he'll tell me, wow, Bruce, look at that red scarf. Or, look, see the guy in the red shirt. I said, what are you talking about? Because to me, I see in black and white. I see in the abstract, okay? When I shoot in color, I look in color. So you're seeing the reality, you're not seeing the abstract. And I think this is problematic for me because I like to go under the surface. I think people in my pictures are symbols for what I see. My photographs are about the society and the effect it has on the individual. There's a lot of people being taken advantage of, a lot of people in bad situations. And look, if you open up the newspapers, the world isn't a great place. So if you know what's interesting to you, then you only have to capture it, which isn't easy. And photography is very I guess special because even if you know how to do something, why does one picture work? You know, the photography gods are with you and most other pictures don't work. I mean, because I call lucky accident when it works, but most pictures have unlucky accidents. It doesn't work. Because no matter how close I work, the picture still has to work within the frame. If it doesn't work within the frame, it's not a good picture. For me, a good photograph is one that is framed well and has a strong emotional content. That's what, for me, a good picture is. I've been in Haiti 22 times, but 19 before the earthquake and 3 after the earthquake. So then in 1984, I think it was, I went down to Haiti. I get in the rental car. I'm driving to the hotel. I say to my ex-wife, she was my wife at the time, geez, where have I been my whole life? I knew right away. People were running across my car, you know, to go to the stadium or something. And I just felt it and I knew it. I love the Haitians. Second poorest country in the world after Mali. It's not even the third world, it's the fourth world, okay? This is the first day I arrived in Haiti. I always believe if you go somewhere, you should start photographing right away. And these are shoeshine boys. This describes Haiti for me. It should be a dream for most people, but it's a nightmare. So I call it dreams and nightmares. Go ahead. This could be a Tonton Macoute. That was Papa Doc's paramilitary organization that helped keep him in power. And a lot of people, they have processions every night to the cemetery, and a lot of people faint. They yell, they sound like cackling chickens, and they faint when they get to the cemetery. That's the yell, that's in the cemetery. They have a tendency, if someone gets killed overnight, they leave you out there, the body, for 10 hours. And everybody, since they're not educated at all, they just stand around and they look at the body like they've never seen a dead body before. It's an example that if you don't do right by the government, this can happen to you. But this may have nothing to do with the government. You know, people sometimes don't like each other there, like anywhere. So what happened is, you had the earthquake. I felt I owed it to them, because they were so good to me, to go back and to show people, you know, how I feel and what they're going through. Look at that. She just lost part of her leg. She's about 20 years old. She's gorgeous. Look at the smile on her face. I mean, what does that tell you? If you took a woman in the Western world that this happened to at that age, she would need about a lifetime of psychiatry. I mean, just look. I don't love this picture. I just love her. I mean, that's strength. That's being strong, okay? Go ahead. These structures are using the electricity from the palace, and it's quite funny because they weren't even allowed to walk near the palace, you know, in front of the huge gates. So here's some of the structures. Go ahead. I make photographs. So to me, when something interests me and I have my camera, I want to take it. That's my medium. That's my métier. I'm not a journalist, all right? I don't claim to be a journalist, all right? I'm more about our life, not that immediate moment. I couldn't care about the immediate moments, okay? Look, politics, you're going to have all the politicians in the world lying. They're no different between one and the next. They're all going to be the same. So I know that. There's too much money involved. There's too much power involved. 4 years ago, Magnum got a little money and we went to Fort Myers because I was going to work on the foreclosures, which I knew nothing about. I've been to 4 places around America. Go ahead. Go ahead. They got thrown out of their house. Go ahead. Go ahead. What happened in America is between the mortgage companies, Wall Street, politicians, it's legalized thievery. They had a license to steal. I mean, did you ever hear of a billion-dollar industry that's deregulated? And they made it deregulated. In a regular example, people bought a house that they couldn't afford. They had balloon payments that meant you would pay, let's say, $1,000 hypothetically the first year. And then by the third year, you're paying $3,000. They couldn't afford it. And the people who made these contracts, the more contracts they made and the more deals they made, the more money they made. Because they would sell the paper to somebody else, and they would get their bonuses before the deal came to fruition. Of course you go bankrupt. Of course. I mean, and it's not much different now. I don't think they've changed the rules. So, great system. Go ahead. Go ahead. Homeless. The further you go along in photography, the less things that you find excite you, because you've seen a lot, you've done a lot. And you know, it's amazing. Sometimes I think I'm 66 and I still get passionate over, and there's things I want to do. So something drives me. That's where the commissions are a little different. You're put in a place like Rochester. To me, there was really nothing much to photograph in Rochester on the surface. But once you go there and you're forced to photograph there for 2 weeks, I found stuff, and I think I did a good work because I went under the surface. I had to find people. I did a lot of jumping out of my car here to ask people if I can photograph them because there's nobody on the street, okay? So go. This is a gang leader, a gang member who was killed. He must have been a blood because he's in red. So he's in the coffin. I asked if I could take the picture, and they said yes. Go ahead. Someone told me she's a drug dealer after, you know, I don't care what she is or isn't, but she's cute. Go ahead. This is a good story because his name is Bernie, and we got into a conversation, and I said, what do you do? He said, I'm a bank robber. And I'm sure he was. He said, I quit in the 80s, but he quit because there's no money in the banks anymore. But, you know, because I told him I have a past too, okay? I don't ask too many questions. We have a rapport. It's easier for me to deal with these guys than it is with corporate types. Go ahead. That's at the assisted living facility. I think my pictures speak more about society than most other people's pictures, because I want to get the guts out of something. And the only way I can get the guts is to be close and to capture the energy. And most people like to be photographed. And there is a segment of the population that thinks they can speak for everybody in the world, and they can't. You know, just because somebody has a chin missing, that doesn't mean that they don't like to be photographed. I mean, I could tell you I've had discussions with people who I've photographed and that have physical deformity, and they're happy to be photographed, okay? They have to live in this world. You know, you can't be totally protected.
Did you ever think of surprising your fans with a body of work of beautiful people?
Wait, again you use the word beautiful. These people are beautiful for me. Listen, I could do that. Listen. Here's a quick answer for your question. Why would I even consider doing something that I don't consider up to what I do in my life? Then I wouldn't be challenging myself. Oh, yeah, 1 second. Anyone else? Go ahead.
I want to ask you how you interact with the people you want to photograph, because most of the portraits you have, the persons are not smiling.
No, I direct them. I direct where I want their head, the right angle, everything. I mean, it's totally orchestrated.
So you don't let them to be natural. You make them somehow to be.
Yeah, if you want to call it that, yeah. But the question is, it's my view on life, okay? I don't think the world is great. I mean, look at all the troubles that are in the world. You think it's wonderful?
No, I like that. I like
My
that
things
they don't
now are
smile.
about the pathos, okay, and the people left behind. You go in Siberia, where I did Sergei, and what are these people going to do? The people in my pictures aren't those people. Those are symbols for what I see. So this is like a catharsis.
Wait, what's that? Let me just try
Head out straight.
Gotta be straight. One second.
Okay.
Don't smile.
Don't smile. No smile. One second.
Relax,
But head
relax.
straight. Okay, perfect. How are they going to fit into this society if you don't have something special you do, or you're not technologically oriented or good? What happens to all these average people? I mean, we have so many people left behind. It's amazing. And the gap is getting wider and wider and wider because technology is going faster and faster and faster. I mean, if I think of myself, I would be left behind if I wasn't a good photographer. I don't work computer, have no interest. What would I do? Oh, I drive a taxi, which I did when I was 20 for 4 years. You know, but, you know, I empathize with those people. I'm not a guy that's coming and talking down to the people. I'm at their level. There's a connect. I'm not coming looking at them like they're behind bars in a cage and I'm a viewer at the zoo. I'm a participant. My photography is a lot of my life. You know, I could retire, but what would I do? I'd probably get even older fast. I'd be so irascible. Oh, it'd be terrible. The tough thing is to keep going. That's why I smile. A lot of people, they gave up. I didn't give up.